Greetings, Donna. Namaste. Welcome. Hello, Empress. I saw your question when you posted it. So I will get to your question shortly. So hello, everybody. My name is Sadhana. I'm an intuitive reader and healer. I'm here doing live readings. And before we get into the live readings today, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the theme and my inspiration for today. So many of you know that I've been doing a Thoth-inspired series and looking at an abundance of decks inspired by the Thoth cards and deepening an understanding of everything from color to astrological planetary connections. And I did make today's video public, so if you want to get a flavor of what's going on in that series, please go back and look at it's a short video, it's about half an hour, on the Six of Swords for today. However, I just want to say that this particular card, as well as the energy of the star, is my inspiration for a collective reading today. And of course, you don't have to have a reading that is connected to this in any way. But if you feel inspired as well too by these words, by these thoughts, then I'm happy to do a spread for you in this a reading in this theme. Okay, so I'm reading down below if you want to follow along. Inspired by the oh, I have a typo. It says 7 or swords. It should say 6 of swords. Um, I will have to correct that after. Okay. Inspired by the enigmatic 6 of swords, the decanic minor ruling over mid-Aquarius season, let's examine the metaphor of journey, the significance of knowledge, and how we might apply that to gain greater trust. Let's take this step by step. So if you scroll down just a little bit further, I have 3 questions that I will continue to expand upon. And I think part of the struggle, part of the confusion with where one is at any given time, this intention of this first card is to help to clarify where the heck am I? And I know a lot of people are feeling a little lost and discombobulated at this time. And so this first card is meant to create a sense of perhaps a signpost as well too. This is where I am. The second card has to do with knowledge and wisdom. And this is a very um, amazing time of year to really sit with your knowledge base and turning your knowledge base into something a little more elevated. And so that's what the second card is going to do. And then the third card, hopefully, we will get a clear sign. And my intention here is that sometimes I find people don't have the skills to recognize signs. And part of that, I mean, this is a whole other conversation and workshop that we could do, but that is in learning to recognize signs. And what comes before that is asking for signs. And so for sure, that is something I could workshop later on. But the intention of the third card is what is one sign that I definitely should not ignore. Okay. All right. Welcome to everybody here. I guess I need to get my list out as well too. It's funny, sometimes I remember everybody's name and other times not so much. So just bear with me while for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I have a list. So a lot of people's channel names does not correspond with their name. Um, And if you want me to know your name, some people don't want their name um, spoken aloud on YouTube, and I can understand that. So yes, Virginia, you can have a reading, and Megan, you can have a reading, and I'll make sure that I get to as many as possible. Welcome, Dee. Mm, I appreciate this, Dee. I appreciate your confirming my process. Hello to Pallavi. Welcome. Lydiane. Namaste. All right. Who else is here? Welcome. So before I get to your readings, I would like to offer a reading for the collective on this with these questions. And I know that this might seem a little um, ambiguous with a general reading with such specific questions. I kind of feel like there are there are themes. There are themes that help bring significance and tie us all together. And so if I don't get to your reading today, please know that there are also messages for you in other people's readings as well too. This is not a large group of people that is gathered here, and so there's a reason that you've all come at the same time at the same place. And this particular group of people will never be together again, exactly as we see in this group. I am using today the 5 cent tarot and the 2 card oracle. And I thought these decks kind of spoke beautifully to where we are in mind. All right, let's do this so I can see there. Okay. All right, Ace of Cups. And the buttons. Sorry. And the lovers. Now, isn't that interesting that our reading is sandwiched by so Ace of Cups and the lovers on either side of the Knight of Buttons. And I'm going to get a word for us as well, too. All right. So, what am I traveling through? Describe my journey. A new awareness of, can I say, the potential of emotion? Interesting. We are moving into Pisces season in a few weeks' time. And right now in Aquarius season, this is the element of air. There may very well be a discomfort with the emotional connection. And so, what you are journeying through is an invitation to touch into the emotional body. And that might be a sense of courageousness. I feel that a sense of courageousness in approaching difficult topics and not avoiding. And this definitely has to do with relationship because we're looking at a sign of relationship on the other side of the reading. So what I'm feeling here is that the sometimes words are so difficult when a concept is relatively simple. an emotion, um, something perhaps with your physical body that is coming into awareness can be realized through relationship. Now, when we are having a discussion with another, or we are, you're talking to your mother, you're talking to your lover, you're talking to your brother, we tend to get focused on the specific story of what is going on. But what I'm saying here is that there is a bigger picture in that what you are helping your brother to process, what you are helping your mother to find the courage to face and to open up to is a reflection of something that you are ready to talk into as well too. So don't miss the opportunity to dive into a relationship that feels a little uncomfortable at this time and broach a topic that may feel uncomfortable, okay? Now, in the second position, where would I benefit from amping up my knowledge base? And here we have Knight of Buttons. Knight of Buttons. Shall we look at the keywords on the card? I'm looking at them upside down. The actual the actual going out and doing something about this is very important. And I wanted to have a kind of a very specific intention for this position. So there's a knowledge base, there's a wisdom base, there's a there's something that needs to be learned. Hmm. It's kind of interesting, when I think about this card and I think about the Six of Swords and the whole idea of going the distance. I think part of this lesson, part of this with what has to be learned is not necessarily about the race of getting to the end, but it's the journey itself that is so very, very important here. And isn't that what all of this about is this journey, whether it's through the cosmos or through the sea or by air or however you are traveling, by foot. It's the little steps along the way that are important, and perhaps the connections that you are making with individuals. Um, not I was touched this morning. I was reading something on my phone, something that one of those things that came up on my phone, and it was about a couple that met 40 years ago on an airplane, and she was terrified about flying. This was the first time she'd left the States, first transatlantic flight, and it turns out that the fellow that was sitting next to her ended up being her husband. They ended up getting married. And this story seems to fit beautifully into what I'm saying here, is that it's not about getting to London, it's about the things that happen along the way that are going to affect and change the rest of your life. So it's really important to observe the journey and enjoy the journey. Okay. All right. So Warrior Girl 13 says, I'm curious what animal is in the middle card. All right. I'm going to actually look that up. Looks like an armadillo or something. Bear with me here. I have the little book. And I don't know if he actually tells us what the animals are. Yes. Oh, the magnificent endangered pangolin, clad in nature's scaly armor, always holds steady with a detailed plan, forever driven on the quest for the next insect meal. So it's pangolin. Okay. All right. Did I give a word? Let's get. I believe I one more shuffle and cut. Now, the oracle deck that I'm using today has different kinds of cards, and I have not sorted it into. Um, okay, so here's the word mirthfulness. Mirthfulness. This is not a very positive word. The hourglass dolphin, a playful sea creature that reminds us to approach life with humor and joy. Here, a sense of the absurd, the ability to joke, make fun, ridicule, gaiety, levity, playfulness, humor. Did I read the card wrong? This is a positive card. I was probably reading. So on this deck, um, there are reverse meaning words. That's what caught my eye. So we want to find a sense, and doesn't that make sense with this whole reading that we find joy, that we find gaiety, that we find levity in and so part of the story that I was telling you, these girls flew, so there was 2 of them, and one of them ended up meeting her husband. They flew standby. They didn't even know what standby meant. They'd never booked a flight before. They just booked a standby flight because it was cheap. And so there was the joy in all of the stress as well too. I think finding lightness in the stress is also an important part of this message. Okay. All right. Let me get to your readings. And if you do at any point have questions about animals on the cards or anything like that, I'm happy to go to the little white book. Otherwise, I'll be reading in my usual flow. All right. So the first question, Empress, I want to ask you, where are you in the world? That would be great information. Uh, I also want to I have worked with, lots of clients in Canada. I'm in Canada, as well as all over the world, and I have tremendous sensitivity to cultures, various cultures and traditions and expectations, and there's an Indian family that I've worked with many, many times here in Canada, where the parents are very, very traditional, and the children honestly don't seem to have any, tolerance for a lot of the tradition, and so part of my role is getting both sides, to look at the others, and so it kinda helpful to know where you are. Okay, so you're Indian and you're in India? Alright. Can we hold hands, please, for Empress as we, look into this question? Any guidance for what Empress should do? And I feel the weight in my heart. So from a very, it's important. It's important to honor the parents. It's important to acknowledge the shoulders of ancient tradition that you were born into. So you as a soul in this soul journey chose these parents, you chose the country, you chose to be in this environment. And there are, like with all of us, an abundance of lessons, especially in family. It can be very, very difficult. So it's important to honor and to find space for the tradition. And yet we are in a world where things are changing and customs are changing. And it can be very difficult to, to navigate what seems some a practice that is quite antiquated. So I want you to know that my heart goes out to you, and I can feel the tension in your heart as well in regards to this. Okay, so I guess just before I turn the cards over, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have somebody that you would like to spend your life with? Like, is there somebody that your parents don't know about? I come from a very remote part of India. And so that would it would make sense that your parents, your family is traditional, right? All right. So very interesting cards that are showing up here. So you have the Knight of Matches, the Knight of Fire, the Nine of Needles, and the Four of Matches. So I'm going to base my reading, of course, on what's coming up in the cards here. And what I'm seeing in the cards is a little bit of confounding energy, confusing energy. On one hand, you are, oh, I feel an Empress, the card that is in the center deeply, deeply reflects that. Okay, so it's important that you have support, that you have a friend that you can confide in. If you can find some sort of a counselor or somebody to talk to, all right? Let me go back to the cards. So the card on the left, the one that has the horse on it, is suggesting that indeed an adventure, a time for travel, a time to kind of break out of your community, break out of your mold, might be just what you need. However, this is not going to be easy. There's going to be a probably an increased level of anguish and stress in the planning, the fear, the worry about the consequences of doing this. Um, but I have to look across the whole reading, what's on the left and what is on the right. It's almost as if you were to find a way to take a trip, to go to, I don't know, Mumbai for a couple of weeks, to maybe somehow get on an airplane and leave the country, go visit a relative in the US or Canada. This might be just what you need. It's almost like having a sense of having an experience of adventure will give you a new level of appreciation and comfort for what you have at home. And I don't know how you can orchestrate this, but honestly, it feels like it would be very, very good for you to find a way to step out, to leave your village, to leave your town for a period of time. Now, what I'm reading, what I'm reading and what I'm sensing and what I'm feeling here is that you go off for an adventure. I'm getting mixed messages. You go off for an adventure, and then you come back and you see your family and your town and your village in a new light, and it gives you a new perspective. And all of this, there's this like almost like a spiritual breakthrough that you are going through, and you are being asked to take a leap of faith. I don't know if you know anything about the tarot, but I wanna show you a card because the readings today are inspired by this card, which is a journey over water. It is it is about going somewhere. We don't know exactly how things are going to turn out. There's a sense of turmoil that is being left behind, but this is about our growth. It's about our learning. It's about finding out who we are, and I really feel like you are at this point, and perhaps some of the mental anguish that you are experiencing is because this is exactly what you need. Perhaps there is a girlfriend, there is a perhaps there is someone you can travel with, much like the story. Now, there is no accident for me sharing this story that I started earlier. 2 girls, never left the United States, never have been in an airplane, buy standby tickets, and go to the airport, and one of them meets their husband on that flight. It's kind of, really interesting that I was sharing that story. Let's go to, Kin's comment. Like the hermit going away from his village and into the mountains, but only on top of the mountain does he see his own village under a new lens and gain a new perspective and appreciation for it. Exactly. Beautiful, beautifully expressed, Kim. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, we all feel for you. We all definitely feel for you. Okay. So maybe I read this story today on my phone before I got out of bed because this is what Empress needed to hear. You just never know how this works. Never know. All right. You're welcome. So Pallavi is next for a general reading. Okay. Let's hold space for Pallavi. Oh, I forgot how beautiful this deck is to shuffle. Interesting. 5 of Needles is the first card, so which is the 5 of Swords. And the reason that is interesting is that this is one of the cards of Aquarius season. The Tower and the Nine of Cups. All right. This is a story of endurance. This is another story of endurance. This is another story of trial by fire, of are you strong enough to endure the challenge, the unrest, and the upset, and know that it is for your greater good. Because what is on the other side is emotionally fulfilling, and it's completely different from where you are now. So that the change, the unrest, the disappointment, the fear of moving forward is so spirit is asking you to stand up. Dee, thank you. Thank you for that. Um, I would say that if there is a confrontation, so this is a little bit what I was talking about in this initial group reading. It's important that you find the courage to bring up the topic, to bring a new lens, a new sense of awareness. This is my mind is just getting blown here. And I'll tell you, I'll try to explain this in a moment. Um, to to bring a new sense of awareness, a new perspective to somebody in your life who you have avoided confronting. And I feel that the confrontation is really, really important. And it feels like it's going to rock the world. But what is on the other side is so very, very, very important. Pallavi, I want you to go back and watch the video that I did at 11 earlier today on the Six of Swords, because this makes so much sense for you. Again, this is a story of a journey. It's a journey that is not easy, a journey that is gonna take so far out of your comfort zone and have you asking questions about whether you did the right thing or not. And you won't be able to see the other side, but there is a beautiful, um, sense of comfort and spirit as well on the other side. I really feel that the 9 of water is just full of divinity, it's full of love, it's full of, um, contentment. It's 3 things. Okay. So your word is wait. Your word has to do with restoring balance, finding peace and harmony. And so this reading would suggest that the perceived Pallavi, this is asking you to stand up and challenge, to break the mold, to mix things up, to do things differently. I don't even know what to know. I feel directionless. This is about stepping outside of the box. It's about doing something you've never done before. And according to these cards, this is a This is something I would say this is something you don't want to do. This is something that feels, um, uh, it feels very uncomfortable. And I have a sense that you have no idea what I'm talking about here, but this is asking you to it's like, it's asking you to uproot yourself. Now, you know how this works. I was asking for a sign. I was asking for a sign in the 3rd card, and I believe that's a peacock, but I'm just going to double check. I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, it is a peacock. So maybe there is an answer at the place where the peacock is. You never know, okay? I know you weren't asking me to go with the reading, but there may be something to that, so I just wanna throw that out there as well too, okay? Okay. Temple Tarot is Megan, and Megan has a question. And then I saw you clarified it down here. Okay. What should I do for the best possible outcome for the issues with my son? Okay. Um, I have a sense that giving him some space. Sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Trouble with having as much hair as I do. Sorry, that was not really nice. Um, Giving your son space. I feel as if it's really important that you thanks, Aisha. Um, that you aren't the helicopter parent. And that might cause some anxiety, but the more space you can give your son, also, the better you will be able to observe. Okay. Someone accused my son of something, and I'm not sure if he did it or not, but I'm nervous for him. Okay. So if you are nervous for him, he's probably very nervous for himself. That's wonderful. Anisha's feeling generous today. Thank you so much. And thanks for Joan too. Okay, so let's focus on Megan and her son. A difficult situation. His throat is closed. What does that mean? His throat, he's afraid to speak. Um, this is the kind of situation where someone says something like, if you what's the word? If you rat on me, I will, you know, you'll be in danger sort of thing. Um, I feel like he's perhaps terrified to tell the truth. All right, let's look at the cards. Page of Cups, which would tell me he's the innocent here. Two of Matches and Six of Needles. This is fascinating that on this card it says rite of passage, which gives a whole other level of meaning to this particular card. It's almost I have no so of course, don't give me any more information, but it's if you can take what I say and apply it to the situation. So it's almost as if what he was accused of doing was a test. So imagine, like, what's that expression? Uh, like hazing, how college freshmen are put through a test in order to get into a certain group, and he might very well have been testing himself, but I don't because of the first card here, I don't feel that he understood the consequences. There's a naivety to this first card. So I would suggest, yes, this is the time to be very protective of him. And the 2 of Matches would suggest, right? So this is, the 2 of Fire. Um, I guess he has a choice whether to, um, engage in the consequences or to stay in his safe space. And I think whoever is supporting him at this time, whether there's school counselors involved or whether this is with neighbors or friends, he needs to find his safe space. So who does he feel safe with? And I would suggest that you rally up and find the person that he feels safe with, because there's a there's something that he's going through, and he needs to know that it's okay. Everything will be fine on the other side, but what we're going through right now, it's like, it's definitely part of his growth, but I don't feel it's also terrible, if that's what you're worried about. Um, now this is hilarious. We have a duplicate word here, curiosity. Curiosity, curiosity. Like, curiosity killed the cat, and I don't know if that means anything to you either. Um, I'm just gonna sometimes these words are really powerful. This is the 32nd card. I really need to go through and mark up this little book, um, 'cause it's not in alphabetical order, and the numbers are not. Okay, they're too small to see. Okay. The jovial sea lion has an innate curiosity and natural interest and sense of active love and experiments, and desire for knowledge and information, fondness for narrations of occurrences. And again, I'm going, wow. This is about perspective as well too. It's important that everyone learns and sees the big picture. And I don't know if any of this is of any help to you, um, but I would say that indeed, your son didn't understand the complexity of what he got involved in. Warrior Girl has a suggestion. Warrior Girl says, "Let him know we are all human and make dumb mistakes. And it's safe to express to you what happened and how he feels about it and accept the consequences." That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, that's good. That's good, Liz. Sorry, I keep wanting to call you Liz because I know somebody named Liz Temple, but I know it's Megan. Yes. Okay. Okay. Virginia is next. Okay. All right. So let's go here. All right. So let's hold space for Virginia. I have so many decks on my table. I've gone a little bit, I feel like I've gone a little bit overboard this last few weeks. And right now, Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm going to do another video on the wee moon and try to um, share some insight into that one. And yeah, um, anyway, I wish I could show you my whole table here. Let's focus on Virginia. This is a reading for professional and heart. So let's find the intersection of heart and mind for Virginia. What is relevant at this time? And perhaps the word will help bring connection. The sun. There's a horse on this card. Breakthrough is Ace of Needles by Lydian. And the Emperor. Okay, so this is a very active sort of reading that would suggest it's time for you to take charge, that this is not a time for you to be in the back seat in both the relationship as well as at work. So you're being asked to lead, to inspire. And I love that we have an Ace of Swords in this time of Aquarius, this time where the mind has so much potential. And I'm not a Trekkie by any means, but that expression that leads in Star Trek, to go where no man has gone before. This feels is asking you to go far, to go to look again, to go the distance, to look far into the distance, because there's a lot that you can accomplish here. You are tremendously powerful and capable to trust. Um, okay, we have a jumping word, approbativeness. Approbativeness. That is number 12. I love all the languages in this chat. It's interesting because I read this message earlier. This is one of the words that caught my attention. Number 12. The proud peacock. So we have another peacock. The proud peacock holds its chest high and fans its feathers to reveal its beauty. This card is about our regard for character and reputation, ambition, affability, desire for popularity, fame, and distinction. So I would suggest that your the manner with which you take the lead is very important. And perhaps your reluctance to not step up and um, be the one who goes forward is for your concern of what others will think of you. And so to be mindful and gentle of all of those that are in your wake. This is about your journey and you embracing your power. And I feel that it's also important to be recognized for your strength. Mm, yeah. The peacock is such a powerful, powerful symbol. Yeah. Warrior Girl 13. Do I know your name? Oh, you're not on my list. Warrior Girl 13. If you want to share your name, I'll add your name to my list just so I privacy, that's fine too. Of course. Okay. Um, all right. So, and Aisha is next. All right. Oh, and Emily is here as well too. Emily, I think Donna, you missed Emily because Emily is on my list anyway. Emily is right after Virginia. Okay. So I'm just going to do a quick reading for Emily and then I will go to Aisha. So welcome to Emily. Um, Okay, so Emily, are you here? Can you just let us know? Ah, I see. I see. Aisha is just thank you, Donna, looking after everyone. Okay. Okay. Interesting deck for this question. Should I go to college next year? Normally, I would jump right in and talk about the way that your question is worded. So we have Knight of Buttons, Six of Cups, and Three of Buttons. So with this combination of cards, I would say it is important to take your time with this decision. There is no rush to go to college. Few things here. So we have no swords cards. College is very swordsy, full of that sort of energy, that sort of element. If you were to ask me if you were going to cooking school, I'd say to culinary school, I'd say this is a big yes. Big. But this feels like no. This might very well be if you were considering a gap year and traveling with friends or spending some time in community or even with work because these cards feel about people and connection. This is sort of the energy that I'm picking up on here. Yes, Ken, I'll talk more about this deck in terms of the questions that are being. All right, and your word, Emily, your word. Oh, okay. Your word is time. You have all the time in the world. There is absolutely no rush. Time is now, this is very interesting. We are also Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. It's also ruled by Uranus. And while Saturn is the father of time, and think about right now in the so we're in the decan of Mercury. There is an interesting relationship with that. Where do I wanna go with this? I'm gonna stay with what I said, first of all. Um, be mindful be mindful of time. I'm getting conflicting information. So I would say no, that it's not necessary to go right away, and be mindful of the big picture of time. So you might wanna do some, um, planning for this whole thing about perspective today is important. So you wanna keep your sight a little further down the road, okay? Alright. Now I wanna go to Kin's question, and I will answer that while I am shuffling for Aisha. Alright. So Kin, um, asked why I chose these decks for today, and the reason for that is that Aquarius I'll do another little mini tarot lesson here. Here. So Aquarius, this is the star card in the slow tarot. So Aquarius is associated with the star card. And part of the energy of the star card has to do with um, navigation, navigation, and far sight, and the wisdom in the stars. And what I was discussing earlier today on my channel was the connection between the science card and the 6 of I had it out on my table, I don't know where it went. Uh, the 6 of swords card in the Waite-Smith deck, and the intersection between perspective and wisdom and knowledge and networking and farsight is so incredible. And I have always seen the 5 cent tarot, because of all the words that are on it, as very much a deck of the mind. Yeah. Okay. Aisha, let's I'm just gonna highlight your name. Okay. This is a reading using the questions below for Aisha. 7th day of February 2023. And I'm gonna repeat the questions because I haven't said them for a couple of minutes. What am I traveling through? Where would I benefit from amping up my knowledge base? And what is one sign that I definitely should not ignore? All right, this card's got so beautifully. Mhm. 6 of Cups. Mm. Just try to play with the focus. This is a journey of heart. It's a journey of connection. It's a journey perhaps that will find connections, relationships that have been in your life for a long time. Sixes bring us to a place of peace and harmony and beauty. And so your endeavor to reconnect with family, to reconnect with old friends is an important part of the journey right now. 8, 8 of Needles, King of Matches. I love the keywords on this deck. I would say that the sign, if you are being asked to step up, to lead in any aspect of your life, this is definitely something that you don't want to ignore. Now let's look at the 8 of Needles in the center here. This is a challenging card, and in the Suit of Swords, so the Suit of Needles, things become more and more difficult as the numbers ascend. Why is that? Why in the Suit of Swords do things seem to get worse and worse and worse? Well, that's because the mind, um, is there's so many different metaphors I can use here. What I'm feeling here is needed, Aisha, is a sense of grounding and stability. When we get up into the higher swords cards, we are very far away from any sense of grounding and stability. We have lost the focus of balance. Now, saying that, this is a beautiful number that is connected to the lemniscate symbol, and it has to do with um, there's a flow to the 8 as well too. Also connects to the if you read, now I should also check in this deck if strength is 8, I'm not sure, but that inner strength that is required in order to move forward and to move upwards. Yes, strength is 8 in this deck. So the question for this one has to do with a lesson, knowledge, wisdom. And I would say again, the theme of perception seems to be very important here. Perspective is uh, everything. And to me, this is asking for you to um, consider a different perspective. And that seems like a simplistic way of saying what I want to say, but I also want you to look at what's going on here in this king. So we have born leader and vision and intent. Perhaps there is a fear that has held you back, a fear that has caught you up in something. So the lesson, the knowledge base is one of self-empowerment. If there have been opportunities where self-deprecation, not being recognized, this is either self-inflicted or other people have sort of kept you back, kept you behind. Know that this is not who you are. You are so much bigger and greater than either you believe or others have led you to believe. Now, I wanna kinda tie this whole thing together. Looking at those 3 cards, I'm wondering if someone from your past has had tremendous influence on holding you back. And so understanding that you don't owe that person or those people, like, they are not you, and they don't understand the tremendous potential that shines within you. And as with many of the readings today, there is something to be relinquished. That's something that must be released. You cannot take everything with you. And if you look at, I mean, this is the slow tarot. This is where we are right now, astrologically speaking, in the Six of Swords energy. So the cards speak beautifully to your situation. I'm reading your comment down at the bottom. At some point, you will need to, you'll, at some point, you won't be able to stand it any longer. There will come a day when you become so frustrated with yourself that you just can't not be yourself. And I just want to offer that, Aisha, the longer that you don't let yourself shine, the greater the odds of physically becoming sick over this are. And this sounds like very harsh words to say, but when we suppress our self, it really doesn't do service to anyone. And part of me, I want to go back to the very first reading for Empress today. And somehow, some way, we need to find the courage. And isn't that kind of brilliant that this card in the center is the eighth card? This is the card that asks us to dig deep and understand how much strength there is within. You have to love yourself enough to make that choice and to make that decision. Focus, focus. I would say that part of the reason for this word showing up is that, and again, this might sound hard, but you get distracted. You get distracted by what's going on with other people, and you forget how important you are. And so what you need to, um Burning Dreamer, isn't your name Virginia? I thought your name was Virginia. So this word showing up for you, Aisha, has to do with focus on what is really important to you at this time. Okay? Be brave. Be brave. Okay. Um, I asked Warrior Girl if she wanted to share her name or they wanted to share their name. Yeah. And if it was typed into the chat, I missed it. Okay. All right. So the final reading today will be for Kim. Oh, KC. Okay. KC. KC, I'm going to write your name down. KC. There we go. Okay. All right. So, Kin, I don't know if you had a question. I'm looking at the, I need to go to register. Okay. Scrolling on down, looking to see if Kin has a question, or we're going to do this spread. Um, okay. So, Kin, let me know if you have a particular question or you would like a reading. If not, I will. Okay. I don't have a particular question, just a general reading that fits today's theme. Okay. This is. Guess I'm done shuffling. This is a very different energy than several other people have received today. So it would feel that right now it would be important. Um, so several people in their reading, there was a sense of get out, break the mold, do something different. But for you, where you are in the journey right now, it feels important to pace yourself. That stability is important. So staying where you feel comfortable and close to home, not shaking things up too much feels very important. Clear of mind, Queen of Needles, and endings. Okay. I'm going to read this very, I have a very intentional way that I'm going to interpret the third card. Okay. Oh, Deanne is here, and Helen, and lots of people are calling in. So welcome to all of you. Jonathan here as well too. Aisha, you're feeling very generous today. Thank you. Okay. Um, so this is a reading for Kin. And what I would say, Kin, is that you have you have a gift, you have a voice, you have an opinion and insight that so this is the lesson in the center here. And I feel as if so if this is your box, this is how you come out of your box. And the way that you come out of your box, you come out of your comfort is by finding your voice, is by sharing your voice and trusting that what you have to share is um, is what others want to hear. The Queen of Needles is so um, elegant and refined and absolutely, there is no doubt whatsoever that they know they know what they know, and they know it's worthy of others hearing it. And this can go in a lot of different directions. So where are we at? I'm just seeing if you made any comments. Um, okay. And then it's really interesting. So I was looking for signs that you don't wanna miss along the journey, along the way, and then you get the death card. So it's and I know this isn't funny, but I'm wondering if there is actually if you're actually planning, if there is a funeral that is coming up, if there is a celebration of life that is happening in your world, um, because There may be a person, there may be, a message, there may be some words of wisdom that something that happens at that event that opens a whole new door for you. Okay, let's go back. I wanna weave this all together here. So the first card is where am I at? So you are in your comfort zone. And perhaps it's important to stay in your comfort zone for some time. But there is an opportunity for you to, and I don't know why I feel like there's a sharing opportunity here that feels very important. Beyond your years, beyond your what mm, you are wise beyond your years. I guess that's what I wanna say. And then in extension, so this is interesting. I was thinking also too that there may be a poem about death. There may be a poem about the end of a cycle. This could also represent a retirement, or where somebody was, um, leaving and going off to start a new life. I feel like you're witnessing an ending, and it's at the witnessing of that ending that you get your aha moment. So observe observe endings, funerals, retirements, graduations. And it's important that you, because there's something in that that feels relevant to where you are at this time. Okay, so no funerals, but there's something else, like there's an opportunity of completion, and in that completion, you will witness something. I don't feel as if it's, one of your it's not yours, it's somebody else's. Okay, so your word is locality, which speaks kind of beautifully to the first card. I would say that your journey right now, it's important to stay contained. You know who you are, where you are, and know that at this time, that's perfect. There are other things that are energies that are arising and may feel confronting. Um, I also feel that with that Queen of Air energy, I want you to recognize that this is air of water. And so there is a level of compassion. It's like the kind of person who, maybe it's a little bit like some of me talking to people sometimes and delivering the hard truth, but doing your best to deliver it with heart and compassion. The Queen of Swords gets a bad rap, gets a really bad rap for, being the being the ice queen. But I'm not feeling that at all. I'm feeling like there's tremendous heart here. And perhaps, you are counseling someone through an ending, through a shift of gears. Yeah, so I'll leave you with those cards to contemplate. Come back and take a screenshot whenever you're ready. All right. Well, that is a wrap for today. And I want to thank everybody so much for being here and joining in the readings and supporting one another in the chat. It's really beautiful to watch that going on. Thank you, Donna. And thank you for looking after everybody in the chat today. That was great. All right, so tomorrow I will be back. Our card in the Facebook group in the Kantaji Oracle is in the Garden of Lost Teeth. So for you, those of you who are following along, you can read the story for this card. And Wednesday evening, I will be sharing more on the wee moon tarot. And what else is happening tomorrow? Tomorrow is always such a busy day. Falarco's tarot. So for those of you that are following along with the Falarcos, tomorrow we will be revisiting the aces and looking at the aces in terms of the tens. And the tens and the Falarcos are a direct reflection, if you will, of the aces. And so in the tens, we see the aces without their blindfold. So that is the plan for Wednesday. And then Friday, I will be back on Friday with, I might do the Valentine's Day tag. I might do the tag that is asking about, decks you've fallen in love with. And I forget what it was called, but I might do that one. We'll see. If you have any requests for Friday, you can always send me a direct message. Okay? All right. Bye, everybody. Namaste.